Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. Just got back from a week of traveling with work and was inspired to do a video tonight. Been away from you guys for a couple days and subject matter came up today that I thought was pretty interesting. So, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll notice that a lot of the stuff over there is somewhat married to what we're doing here, but they're really memes and things like that to encourage you throughout the day. Well, I started something I thought would be a clever program to kind of bring us together as a community. It was a no intent to be a book promotion program or because I don't make any money on my book at all, like literally none. I made $65 in the last 2 years in this book. So it's not like I'm making money on the book, but it's a good tool for us to come together as a community and share with others. And so did a book challenge on there for us to share our story together. And that's all the whole purpose of it was. It's not replacing any recovery stuff. And I got a comment out there that always happens. And I get it from two bodies of people. One is from the AA zealots, and one is from religious zealots that only see things through their lens. So this video was inspired by an individual named Hutch that decided to challenge my notion of doing this book thing. Clearly didn't hear what I was saying and said I should go to a meeting and do the 12 steps. And then when I called it out, he clearly was talking about AA. I clarified that he was going against the principles of AA to even promote AA publicly. And then it turned into, well, there's all kinds of 12 steps programs. So the point is that it was an antagonist that obviously has some issues and was just looking to pick a fight. The point is, though, is that he actually asked a question in the end that I think was a valid question. Who are you? So I think that's a good question. And tonight's video is going to be about who am I? And, honestly, who am I? As I'm going through a new season in life here, and as I'm going through a lot of challenges in life and things that are a little bit overwhelming, a lot overwhelming, honestly. I have an epicenter to me, and it's my home and my family. Our family has been absolutely torn apart with addiction and the consequences of it. And no aspirational goal that I had for my family is currently being accomplished based on the season that we're in. And that is frustrating for me and hurtful for all of us involved. And so we're doing our very best to navigate a very difficult time to bring our family back together. And that's challenging. So it does beg the question, so who is Chris? So for Hutch and others and whoever other antagonists out there wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing here, I believe that through all things that I've gone through, I have a purpose, and that purpose is to share the message of hope and help with others, share the cautionary message that says your high risk living can lead to total collapse because I'm evidence of it. I'm also evidence of the fact that if I have a fellow traveler alongside of me, their advice and their perspective can help me make better decisions. And so, what I'm trying to do on this channel and others other platforms that I'm using is to make sure that I'm offering that message of hope and help and planting seeds as much as I possibly can so that others can find the hope and help that I found to recover my life and to rebuild it at times when I make bad choices and to fortify my family when we're going through hell, absolute hell. But I think just to reorient myself and my audience, what I'd like to do is share with you who I am, and I'll do it very briefly. First priority is I'm a father. I'm a very proud father of a 26-year-old male, a 20-year-old female, an 18-year-old male, a 7-year-old female, and a 3-year-old female. I'm a proud grandfather of an almost 2-year-old granddaughter, and a roughly, I think, 7 or 8-month-old grandson. So I have a large family of children that are legacy. And in some cases, I probably haven't left the best legacy for them, but I'm super proud to be their dad and grandfather. And I'm thankful for that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm a loyal partner, and her name is Sam. And despite system requirements for our separation right now, and despite what seemingly is a world that wants to destroy our relationship and circumstances that are destroying our relationship, I find her to be a tremendous human being, and I'm loyal to her. I'm a soldier of a king, and that's a spiritual component of my life. I see God as a king and not as Santa Claus. And why I say it like that is because with a king requires obligation and things that I must do because he's of that great power that is influencing and controlling the circumstances of my life in a way that he's my refuge and strength, but he's also the command that I follow. He is my higher power and my commander. And so for that, when I don't follow those commands, I find that my life goes terribly wrong. When I follow those commands, I find that I'm a very rigorous, motivated soldier with a lot of stamina. And these are core elements of who I am. I'm also a professional leader in the business world. Have a number of leadership awards before my homelessness in 2017 and my addiction took everything. I currently lead a team in the lab research space in the federal government. Have 15 people that their careers are entrusted to me. And I take that super seriously. And I'm so thankful for all of them. I'm a retired amateur fighter in mixed martial arts. I fought in a promotion called Cage Combat. I learned a lot of lessons there. I'm a two-sport collegiate athlete, baseball and soccer. And I'm also an alcoholic in recovery. I also have diagnosed with depression and anxiety that are clinical. And those are things that lead me to make decisions that aren't wise sometimes. So that's Chris. And there's probably other things you could say about me. I'm a smartass. I have a short temper. I don't win every fight, but I'll fight them all. That's pretty much who I am. I stand for those that I believe in. So Hutch, who am I? That's me. I'm also a writer. I play guitar for fun. That's the general nature of who I am. Now, why is that important? Well, because out of all those things, I have a purpose, which is the presiding reason why I do what I do here. Now, I got a letter today from Sam, and it was very sweet, but very motivating. Now, here she is in such a tough time, and she's writing me to encourage me. She's telling me that we are clearly under attack and that our most important thing is our children, our children, our children. And I couldn't agree more. She said, Chris, the good news, they played their hand. And we're talking about what we believe to be the evil that is trying to destroy us. She says we must fight harder, fiercer than we have ever thought to fight before. She said, Chris, are you with me on this? We are getting all these bad hands for a reason. We do have some good to do in this world. We also do have the power to overcome this. God will not fail us now. We deserve our children more than anyone in this entire world does, and we will fight that way. People often wonder, how it is that with my addiction, how it is I could be so in love and so supportive of somebody that has such a struggle with her addiction. Because that's Sam, and that's my best friend. Because she inspires me to fight harder as I try to inspire her to fight harder. And in those places, we coexist well. We're struggling and we're under attack. So for the Hutches of the world and the religious zealots, and want to know who Chris is and why I'm putting these messages out, that's why. I'm doing it because there's a purpose and a calling out there. And I'm not here to change people. I'm here to plant seeds of hope with the information that I've received. Because one thing I'm sure of is I talked to my friend Tom. I've talked to another individual this week, Tatiana. Her struggle is different than others. I'm so inspired by these individuals because while they come from completely different walks of life with completely different struggles, the salient points are all the same. We have to be aligned with our spiritual nature. At the same time, we also have to be rigorously working on the things that we're trying to overcome, and also understand that the lessons that we learn are valuable tools for somebody else that's a little bit behind on where we're at in their journey, and we can help them along with that message. We are hope and help. Now, I'm not knocking 12-step programs, and I'm certainly not knocking those that believe in the Bible and what their version of, what God is or is not. I'm sure that they have a different, angle on life that's made them believe what they believe. What I can tell you is just because I don't necessarily follow your set of rules doesn't mean that the path I'm going down is not correct for me. It doesn't mean that at all. So for those that get fired up and want to come on a channel like mine, that the entire intention is to help others and want to course correct me with your rules about your book and your version of that book, I would save your breath because it's not going to do a darn thing. I've lived a life for a long time in this journey, and I know what works for me and my family and what works on my journey that's sustainable. I would argue that those that are very legalistic, and no matter what your background is, there's going to be a lot of holes in your game along the way. And you might want to soften up and recognize that we're all at different stages in our journey, and there might be a better way of delivering that message. So Hutch, you wanted airtime and you got it. Relative to my respect for your opinion, I don't have it. It's just not there. because your delivery was exactly what I find to be offensive with religion and what I find to be offensive with AA. You don't know the rules just because you've gone through the steps a couple of times and maybe have a few sponsors. Here's what my biggest problem is. I recall one time, and I'll post a video here. I had when I for early on my recovery back in 2018, 19, probably time frame. I used to have to walk 160 miles a month because I worked 3 different jobs and I couldn't drive a car and I couldn't afford Uber, so I would walk everywhere. And it was a lot of walking, and I had plantar fasciitis and everything else from doing it all. But it was necessary for me to rebuild my life, so I did it. One time I recall I taped my feet. I videotaped my feet walking, and I just the whole thing I was talking behind it. My videotaped my feet walking, talking about all the miles I walked, and I was making observations that I went. And that same sidewalk I was walking on a few months earlier in the snow, it was like that wet snow that comes down on the leaves, and it's just really it soaks you. It's not really snow and that it builds up; it just soaks you. It's like really heavy rain. I was walking in that onto one of my 3 jobs, and a sponsor from AA pulled on the side of the road with his sponsee and said, "You don't want to be like that guy." He was from my home group. He knew exactly who I was. "You don't want to be like that guy." And then went on social media and reiterated the point that he had made to publicly shame me on a social media page that was dedicated to AA. Now, from my nature is to knock him out. Like my nature is to go grab him and smash his head in the next table I see. It didn't turn out to be that way. I still have a lot of resentment for him because I've never seen him since, and we have not had a chance to address that matter. But he was a sponsor doing that to somebody that was early on in their recovery, doing everything they could to figure it out. That's the type of attitude I saw with Hutch, with that type of an approach. It's the same thing I've seen with other people that have confronted me on their religious systems on social media. I'm not saying that I'm right all the time. What I'm saying is there's an appropriate platform to discuss your concerns about the messaging. Don't grandstand. I'm not grandstanding. What I'm trying to do is find innovative ways to reach an audience that may not hear things the way we all do. And sometimes the book thing is something I've done for a while now. I just introduced it to the social media, but we've done it as a face-to-face matter all along the way here. I've got a number of people that write their story in that book and hand it on to somebody else. In fact, anybody that gets the book, I tell them to do that. So if you want to know what the book challenge is, go check out TikTok. I got a video that I put out yesterday about that. And, if it's something you want to do, go for it. And I think there's an issue on Amazon right now. I've got to reach out and figure out what's going on there. But, if it's something you want to do, go for it. I'm going to do that. But this message tonight might be a little bit less motivational for you. It really is just supposed to be informational. Who's Chris? Well, Chris is somebody that struggles with addiction, and I struggle with mental health. Our home is in a little bit of a chaos right now, but 2 people are motivated to be parents with kids. We're trying to figure out how to correct the things that are wrong and get things back on track here. So I'm asking again one more time for prayer for our home, specifically pray for Sam. She's going through a lot more than I am. I pray that you pray for her peace and her sustainability and her recovery, that the chips fall in place so that she can have her dreams and hopes come alive again. And I want to express gratitude that she's the mother of my child and that she's the mother of my stepdaughter. And I'm thankful that she's my friend. I'm thankful that I get to go through this journey with her, as hard as it is. I'm asking for prayer for me that I have stamina to handle things the correct way for my home, and that I don't fly off the handle in things that I shouldn't. And I hold tight and firm and strong in the areas that I should. And that's going to take a real spiritual intervention because I have a tendency to be short-tempered when it comes to my family. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in and listening. There's a lot going on in life. You guys probably have a lot going on too. All I'd ask you to do is take it one day at a time, put a good plan together, and address whatever it is that comes out of the sky that's a little different than what you expected it to be. Don't fall apart, stay focused, and figure out a way around it or through it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you make a religious comment or an AA zealot comment, I'm probably going to call you out. So make sure you're cautious about what you say because I'm not going to let it slide. But in the meantime, guys, I'm going to do everything I possibly can do to stay out of trouble, and that's for sure. I hope you guys do too.